important on that slide. For your slides, right how I am in the corner down here. And what's really neat about this is you can then move yourself around, resize this little thumbnail preview of you, and so that way you're not blocking anything important on that slide. It's also a good idea to keep in mind when you're designing your presentation that you can have this little preview of yourself imposed over your slides so you don't have any important information wherever you want that preview of yourself. It is good for accessibility for hard of hearing viewers to have that view of your lips on. So it is good to have that on screen. That way you're it's good. So anyway, your slides for navigating, all of those controls are down here. So you can have that little arrow. You can thumb through just like a normal presentation. Here's the gotcha. Right at now, at the time of this recording, animations for your PowerPoint slides don't quite work. I have animations on this slide and it doesn't really play. So like with normal PowerPoint presentations, if you have animations, you can click through and they'll animate. Here, it jumps to the very last. You just sort of see the final state of that slide. So the workaround is to design your slides differently. So the next slides, I have them pieced out. So I've broken it up slide by slide, and I'll show you the deck afterwards. So if I want to have that same effect, I create separate slides for each individual look of that one. And I'll show you what that means, what that looks like in a minute. So basically you create more slides instead of one slide that has all of the animations on it, like that. So let me go ahead and end this presentation. Let's jump on over to PowerPoint and I'll show you how I built that animation sequence. And here is that same presentation that we saw in Zoom in PowerPoint. So here's that first slide, that second slide, third slide, and there's that fourth slide that does have some animations on it, but there were no animations that were playing in Zoom. Also notice something interesting. Now I've changed nothing about how this presentation was when I imported it to Zoom. Notice I have this slide hidden, yet it still showed up in Zoom. 8 slides, Zoom showed 8 slides. This one showed up and did not play any animations. So how I got that effect where it did show each individual slide broken up was I created 4 individual slides that have no animations. I just broke up each individual one to create that effect, basically. But this slide with animations, even though it's hidden, still showed up in Zoom. So do keep that in mind if you are importing a presentation. Even if it has hidden content, it will show up in Zoom. Just wanted to point that out.
Sharing your screen in Zoom is a must-know skill, but do you know these 7 tips? In today's video, I want to show you not only everything that you need to know about screen sharing, but things that are going to make it so much easier for you, including how to prevent participants from doing certain things. Hello, everyone. Scott Friesen here at Simpletivity, helping you to get more done and enjoy less stress. And let's start off with a shortcut key to make your life so much simpler. So, for example, you are probably very familiar with how to share a screen. All you have to do is come down here and select this button, Share Screen. And that's pretty easy to bring you up to this dialog prompt. But isn't it a bit easier if we just put Alt-S on our keyboard? Alt-S will also bring up that dialog box. Whether you have this window maximized or maybe you have this minimized, maybe you're somewhere else, I can just put Alt-S, or if you're a Mac user, you can select Command-Shift-S, and that will immediately bring up your share dialog. But there's something else that I like to point out with this is that often I will give this tip to some of my participants if I want them to share their screen. You don't know how many times I've been trying to tell them or try to help them navigate where to find this share screen button. It's so much easier if I just let them know, hey, just hit Alt S on your keyboard and we can get right to sharing your screen. Now let's move on to tip number 2. And this actually has to do with the opposite. That is actually preventing someone from sharing their screen, because you want to be in control, right? You want to say who and when can share their screen instead of them taking over your meeting. So what Zoom has done is they've conveniently added a security button here in our toolbar. And if we select on security, you can see that there's a few options here, including the ability to allow or not allow participants to share their screen. So here you can see I have it unchecked, meaning anyone who is in this meeting with me, they cannot share their screen unless I come in here and select this. If I check this, now my participants are allowed to share their screen with me and share their screen with others. However, this is probably on by default. So what I like to do is go into my Zoom settings and change it so this is unchecked by default, so I can always make sure that I remember, I don't have to remember, I should say, to come in here and uncheck that. So let me show you how to do that. Here I am within my Zoom settings within the zoom.us website. And after you've logged into your account, you want to select settings, and we are wanting to scroll down a little bit to the second header, which is called In Meeting Basic. Now we want to scroll down just a little bit further here until we get to our screen sharing settings. Most likely this is already set, right? Because that's a standard feature within Zoom to be able to share your screen. But it's this second option, who can share? By default, it probably is set to all participants. Now, you may be hesitant to say host only yourself, or if you make someone else a co-host. But remember, this doesn't actually prevent other users from sharing. What it means is that that checkbox that I just showed you is always going to be unchecked. So whenever you start a meeting, when you have host only set on your user account, on your settings, this is always going to start a meeting with this unchecked. And then when you want to allow someone else to share their screen, you can come in here, select security, and turn that on. So a helpful tip, especially if you don't want other people hijacking your meeting. Even though they were supposed to be in your meeting, you don't want to allow them that control to start sharing whenever they want to. Now let's go to another screen sharing tip. And this one has to do with sharing video, because we often want to share a YouTube video or maybe some other type of video that you already have on your machine. And many people have been complaining that, oh, it's really either fuzzy or it's choppy or they can't quite hear the audio. Well, before you share your video, whether it's online or on your system, be sure to come down here and check this checkbox. Optimize screen sharing for video clip. You want to check this box, which is also going to automatically check this one, share computer sound, because we obviously want to share the audio when we're sharing that video. But this is going to increase your chances for the best viewing experience for your participants. Now, it's not going to guarantee that it's a flawless experience, because remember, your bandwidth, but also your participants' individual bandwidth is going to contribute to how they view this or what type of quality they experience. But to have the highest quality, to optimize your video clips, make sure you check this box before you go and select YouTube or before you go select something on your screen. All right, we're going to stick here within the sharing dialogue for tip number 4. And this one has to do with sharing just a portion of our screen. So let me cancel out of this for just a second. And let's say that I've opened up a PDF document. However, I don't want to share the whole toolbar. Maybe I have some notes or other things here on the right-hand side. I just want to share the text, but I don't want to hide all this other stuff because I might be doing other things. I just don't want them to see that. So when I go to share, when I go back here, let's open up our share screen here. I'm going to click on advanced. Basic is the one that we always
spring is wet, rivers will flow, full from the rain and melting snow, hillsides of flowers.
Welcome to the Deep Sleep Sounds podcast.